And welcome back to the Tuned In podcast.
Oh, we're back.
We're here. And guess what? Wednesday's the first
day
of Jazz basketball. We're excited.
Oh, man. It's so exciting.
I believe Tuesday's the first day of NBA basketball. So
I think so, yeah.
We'll get a couple of games then. We're a couple of days away.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm feeling so good. It's been fun to have preseason back. We got college basketball warming up. College football's going hot right now. Oh, man. Such a good time.
Yeah, I feel like each episode in the past couple of weeks, we're like, oh, this new sport's starting. This new sport is starting. None of them are ending. I guess baseball is kind of starting to wrap up.
Yeah.
WNBA is starting to wrap up too. They're in the finals. But lots of sports starting right now. So we're happy about that. But today's episode, we got a lot of great things. We're going to break down the last couple games of the preseason. We had 3 games this week since our last episode. And then we got 2 more games upcoming that will be our first 2 regular season games. So we'll talk about those too. And then the main part of this episode, we're going to give our 3 bold predictions each of what we think will happen this Jazz season, as well as break down some other news around the NBA and some local sports.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. You can find us. You can also find us on Instagram at tunedinjazz on all those platforms to check out our latest episodes, news, and to be involved in the conversation. And this is episode 47 of Tuned In Jazz. Ooh, all right. Here we go. We got 3 preseason games this week. 2 losses and a win, but it's preseason. We're not, who's counting, right? Man, I don't really know if I have any thoughts about individual games, but what have you, do you have any thoughts from this week about guys?
Well, I think the first thing that we should bring up, because I think we're going to talk about this eventually anyways, is just talk about Walker Kessler and his performance, because I think that's a big point.
Yeah.
What I've seen from Walker Kessler is, one, just being able to rebound very well.
Yes.
He's had like at least 8 rebounds, it feels like, almost every single game. The Dallas game, he had those 15 rebounds in a game, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's getting back to his year 1 self a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Even if it's just rebounding the ball, like, we're thrilled with that. He doesn't need to do anything crazy offensively.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was impressed. I saw a clip where he blocked DeMar DeRozan's mid-range shot.
Oh, yeah.
DeMar DeRozan doesn't get blocked very much. He's mid-range magician in there. And that's, oh man, I'm excited. I like we've talked about before, I love Walker Kessler. And I think especially moving forward, his success is plays a huge part in how the Jazz develop and everything. So I'm happy developing.
Yeah, not to mention the Jazz as a team had, how many was that? 12 blocks against the Kings.
Yeah.
It was absolutely crazy. Bowlerjack and Thurl were talking about the blocks the entire game because they just kept happening.
It was crazy.
So yeah, Walker had 4 blocks. John Collins had 3. Jordan Clarkson had 2, and they were good blocks too. He had 1 on a fast break. That was pretty good. And then as a team, we had 12. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, not bad.
So good things from Walker Kessler. We'll see if, of course, preseason doesn't matter. So maybe the other teams, they're not really playing their best basketball right now, but it looks like Walker Kessler is playing pretty well. So we'll see if he can translate that.
Another thing I thought was interesting from at least the San Antonio-Sacramento games, Colin Sexton led us in assists both those games, 8 in the San Antonio game, 6 in the Sacramento game. I'm guessing he probably didn't play in Portland.
All the starters played 15 minutes in Portland, it seems like.
But that was kind of, I feel like last season we had a little bit of criticism early in the season because he just he's so high energy that sometimes it turns into a little bit of, it looks a little selfish. Mm-hmm. But towards the end of the season we saw this, and now we're seeing it he's doing things that are helping the team. And that's the kind of thing that makes us want to keep him around, so, and makes him valuable to us, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched him coming out of college at Alabama, he didn't have many teammates to pass to.
No.
He had to learn to just put his head down and drive to the paint regularly.
Absolutely.
He can still drive to the paint regularly at such a great level. He's fast, high energy, like you were saying. But yeah, we want to see a little bit more team basketball from everybody. And I think it's going to be interesting with him playing the shooting guard, because Keontae's our point guard. Everyone's saying he's going to be the guy mostly facilitating. But I wonder what that'll be looking like with him, Keontae and Colin Sexton. Are they both going to be kind of the ball handler, dishing out assists, or is it going to be mostly Keontae? I don't really know. Because it seems like from what we've seen last season, I feel a little bit more confident in Keontae and his passing.
Absolutely.
But we'll see. That they both have shown that they can do it. So we'll see.
I think it also adds a lot of questions with like the emergence of Bryce Sensabaugh. I think is going to have more time this year. Isaiah Collier's looking nice so far. He's definitely a point guard, and so it begs.
I mean, if one of those guys gets injured,
yeah, exactly,
somebody's got to step up.
And then it's like Will Hardy's got to decide: is Colin Sexton a better second unit guy just to like bring the bench high energy? Is he a starter? Like it's going to be so interesting this season to see how that unfolds. We don't even know yet.
Yeah, crazy. Definitely. And I think last season we all loved what Colin Sexton was able to do in games that didn't matter.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a lot of games this year that don't matter.
Yeah.
But I also, like you said, we got Collier, we got Sensabaugh. Those other guys need experience too. And
Absolutely.
So if Colin Sexton might have to take a little bit of a backseat, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Especially this season.
Absolutely.
I guess also in general, the last couple of games, I still don't feel great about our turnovers. We're still learning the offense. We're still figuring it out. But I guess another player that's kind of standing out, you already mentioned his name, is Bryce Sensabaugh.
Yeah.
He looks like a way better player already.
Absolutely.
From last season. Because last season he was like getting half the time in the G League, half the time in the NBA. He's probably really tired.
Yeah.
This season he's coming in. I think he's only going to play for the Jazz, I would guess. And he's put on some muscle so he can kind of bully people when he's driving. He's a great scorer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I already feel like he's going to like have his spot in the rotation solidified.
Yeah.
At least that's what it's looking like throughout what I've seen from him so far.
Yeah, he like when we watched him, or like I've seen a couple of G League games last year where he just looked like crazy athletic, hit some crazy shots. And it was like the question was, why is he not playing for the Jazz? But I kind of got the vibe that it was like he didn't understand the NBA system, especially the Jazz's system. But this year he just seems like he fits. Like there's no weirdness about his game. He's just coming in and making plays. And
I mean, that's having a year's experience makes such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm sure he's coming in this season like knowing way more than he did last year.
Absolutely.
And even halfway through last year.
Another guy that I've been, I try not to get too excited about him, but I've thought John Collins has played pretty decently well, a little better than he's looked. I still don't know. He's just such an anomaly or not an anomaly, but just like big question mark where it's like, what do we do with John Collins? He seems like he's just way too good for us to bench, but he also sometimes just seems like he's tearing us all down. So I don't even know what to do with that guy, to be honest.
I mean, last season, his plus minus on the Jazz was probably the worst.
Yeah.
Whenever really he's on the court, we don't do well as a team. I wonder what that'll look like this season, though. I don't know. I'm starting to think if Kessler's getting all these rebounds, I thought Collins was going to start again, but now I think I might have changed my mind. I think Kessler's going to start and Collins is going to come off the bench to start the season.
Especially with Taylor Hendricks looking a lot better.
Right.
I don't know how you can keep him out of that starting lineup pretty soon. So.
Yeah, and I don't really like John Collins at the 4 on our team. So I think I think he looks better at center.
Absolutely. Okay, well, 2 games coming up this week. Our home opener, and our season opener against the Grizzlies on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, we got a new prediction way we're doing it
we
this year
do.
as well.
That's right.
So if you're watching us last year, we would predict every game, win or loss. And at the end of the season, we both had a win-loss record of games we predicted correctly or not.
Yeah, we were pretty close too.
I will say I did win last year.
You did win.
I got you by a few games, but it was close.
It was close.
I think we were both we're like 50 wins. Like we predicted like about 50 games, right?
Yeah, I feel like you got a lead like kind of 3/4 of the way through the season, and then it was just so predictable at the end of the season that we were both just on par with each other.
This is a loss. This is a win. And you were like trying to roll the dice a little bit just to try and
to catch
a win on me.
Yeah.
But we're changing our prediction this season to make it more dynamic. So instead of picking just win or loss, which is a little bit more predictable, we're going to be choosing kind of the line. Yeah. So for instance, I might say the Jazz are going to win by 10 points. If the Jazz end up winning by 10 points, that's a perfect score. No points added to my score. If I predicted that the Jazz would lose by 10 and they win by 10, that's a 20-point difference.
Yeah.
So that would be 20 points added to my score. And so then we'll tally that up each week, and at the end of the season, whoever has the least amount of points off of the correct score is the winner. So
yep. So it's greater than win or loss. Golf style.
Yep.
We don't want points. This could get interesting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll make it interesting too, because I think that'll help us pay more attention to how many points are scored in a game.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to be scoring 120 every game like a lot of teams last season? Are we going to be more like grit and grind, at least down to 100?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Lots of threes being shot.
And honestly, we're starting kind of crazy here because these first two games are two teams we have no idea. Like the Grizzlies, they could be back this year. They could be the same. Warriors are just like, they don't have Klay Thompson now. I know he wasn't like carrying them last year, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. So, guess we'll start with the Grizzlies though. How are you feeling about that game?
Well, like you said, the Grizzlies did bad last year without Ja. They had a lot of other injuries too. So this season, everybody's kind of saying they're going to be a playoff team, maybe like a 4 to 6 seed.
I could see it.
Is kind of what I'm hearing. But we're at home.
Yeah.
And it's the first game. So if I'm looking at last year, the Jazz actually had a pretty solid home record until the end of the season. We finished off 21-20 last year at home. But we lost a lot of games at the end of the season, so I feel like it's a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
But anyway, because we're at home, I think we're going to win by 5.
Ooh, interesting. Well, I don't mean to be a downer, but I think so. Ja's back. I think the Grizzlies are they look much more ready this year. It seems like. And so I think that the Jazz are going to lose. I'm going to say they're going to lose by 6.
It's not too bad.
Pretty much
we're not getting blown out, you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much the same margin that you set, just the other way, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ja's the type of player that plays the chip on his shoulder, and they've just given him like a big old bag of chips to put on that shoulder. So
yeah,
I think he's going to come out hot and heavy. So
I know the Jazz fans are going to be on their feet for this game.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so
long awaited.
Yeah.
Okay, then Friday versus the Warriors. Again, the Warriors are kind of a new look team.
Yeah.
No Klay, added Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson, some other guys. Maybe you go first this one.
Yeah, okay. Man, I really don't mean to be a downer, but I think Jazz are going to lose this one as well. But I'm going to say this one's a little closer. We're going to lose by 3. I think that one's going to be a thriller. I think we're going to lose like in the last couple minutes of the game. They just have so much. They do have a lot of talent, even though they lost Klay. Low-key, I think Buddy Hield in preseason was looking really nice. He looked like he was fitting in real nice with the Splash Brothers. Well, becoming a new Splash Brother, I guess. So I'm going to say we lose by 3 that game.
Okay, I'm going to put a loss too, but I'm going to say Steph Curry gets rocking. They kind of take a large lead, and we just don't come back. I'm going to say we lose by 10.
Ooh, okay.
Could come back to bite me in a little bit.
That's
we'll
fair.
see.
I could respect that.
So we'll come back next week, and we'll see how close we got.
Yeah.
I do think for both of these games, what I'm most excited to look for is just how our Kessler, our 2 second-year players, our second-year players and our rookie players doing in this game. How much do they play? I think that'll be an interesting conversation next week with where the minutes are, who's starting, how are they doing. That'll be interesting to see. All right. Well, the main chunk of this episode, we're doing our 3 bold predictions for this season for the Utah Jazz. We kind of did this last year at the All-Star break. Some of our predictions came true. And at the time, they felt bold. Like, I think one of yours was that the Jazz would get a top 10 pick, which was kind of maybe at the time. So we got a couple of our bold predictions last time to come true.
Yep.
I'll say mine this time are a little bold.
Mine are pretty bold too.
So I'm not saying I'm super confident in these, but that's why they're a bold prediction.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just having fun with these. Honestly, if they don't come true, it's fun to just think about crazy scenarios that could happen because you never know.
Yeah, well, I do have some faith in these. That's why I put them. So absolutely. I'll do my first one.
Okay.
As a little bit of background on this, last year, the Jazz as a team finished with the worst defensive rating in the NBA.
Okay.
Right? And so if you look at the stats, I think their defensive rating was like 119 points per 100 possessions.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Really bad. Teams just made their shots against us, and we kind of left people open.
Yep.
But my bold prediction this year is that we will be an above average defense.
Ooh.
So 15 or better in the NBA. So that's a big jump, but I think with Walker Kessler maybe playing more minutes and
Taylor Hendricks playing more
minutes, I think we're going to be an above average defense.
I could see that. Yeah, that's not a bad take. Okay. I like that take. Here's my take. This is probably the least hot of all my takes, but I do think that it is a hot take. I'm going to say that one of the Jazz rookies will find himself on the all-rookie first team this year. I won't say which one because I could see it.
That makes your bet a little bit more safe.
It does a little bit, yeah. My bet is probably it's Cody Williams or Isaiah Collier, but
right.
I think so one of the rookies is going to find himself on that team, especially this year with who even knows who's going to be on that all-rookie first team.
How many minutes per game are you hoping Cody or Isaiah Kyle get?
I mean, I'm hoping by the end of the season that they're both 20-plus minute guys, to be honest. But
right. Yeah. Cody could get that right out of the gate.
I think so, yeah. I don't see why not. That's my first take.
Okay, my next one. The Jazz will not make a trade at the trade deadline.
Oh, dude, okay. All right, let me tell you.
You want me to explain? Oh, did you have a similar?
My hot take is that the Jazz will make a big trade at the trade deadline. And I put in quotations, Dame Lillard, ?
Okay, well, we're at opposites.
Anyways, I mentioned it because you said, but I want to hear.
Okay, well, I'll give mine, then you give your reason. That's hilarious. Opposite takes.
Yep.
I don't think the Jazz are going to make any trade at the deadline at all. Because the last couple of years, the reason we made a trade is because we've been too good. I think this year we're going to be bad, and we're okay with that. And so at the trade deadline, we're just not going to make any moves. That's my bold prediction.
That's fair. Okay, well, my reasoning's kind of similar though. I don't think that we're gonna make any big trades as in unloading guys to get worse. But I could see us Danny Ainge said he's going big game hunting. We don't know if that's done or not.
We're waiting for somebody to become available.
And I just put Dame Lillard. I'm not saying it's gonna be Dame Lillard, but I don't know. The Bucks thing doesn't seem to be working out so far.
Zach LaVine, do you want to pay him?
Maybe. But I could see us getting a big piece. I don't think
Anthony Simons.
Yeah,
could be good.
I don't think the Jazz will make any smaller trades at the deadline, but I do think that big trade will be available this year. There will be some guys that move this off this trade deadline. So
Okay, I kind of love that actually.
Yeah.
That'll be some fun banter
Yeah,
going
we didn't
into
even
the
talk about
deadline.
that before either.
Okay, I'm team no trades. You're team big trade.
Yep.
Okay, my last one. This one would be is a little bit wishful thinking. Keontae George will be top 10 in assists in the NBA, assists per game.
Okay. Interesting.
Last year he averaged like 4.5 assists per game.
Yeah.
And he didn't play that much for most of the season. This season, he's going to play a lot.
Yeah.
The whole season. So I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity.
Yep.
And to get top 10 in the NBA in assists, you pretty much have to get like 7 or 8 around there. So I think that would mean he'd almost have to double his assists.
Yeah.
Be a lot for him to do, but I think he can do it. He'll have a lot of opportunity, a lot of guys that he can pass to, and he'll be the main ball handler, hopefully.
I totally agree. I'm excited about having Patty Mills around too.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to see how that affects guys like Keontae. Patty Mills is just such an experience. He's played high-level basketball for such a long time. So he could totally help him get a couple more assists a game. Okay, my last one.
Is this the boldest one?
This is a scolding hot take. I think after the season, we see a little bit of frustration from Will Hardy. And my prediction is that he moves on at the end of the season.
Really? Shoot, that's kind of a sad take.
I
hope that doesn't happen.
But my reasoning is just that, like, he's a young coach. And, like, if you want to be a head coach in the NBA, how long can you take these hits to your, like, coaching record before you're like, okay, I want to eventually be, like, a successful head coach?
Yeah.
I can't keep, having these like less than 500 seasons. I don't think it's because the Jazz will be frustrated with him because they know that it's not his fault. But I wonder if he doesn't feel like we're any closer by the end of the season if he moves on. So that's my hot take. I think that is pretty hot. Happen.
They extended him 1 year, right?
They did. Yeah.
So I think he's under contract.
That's true.
I don't know what his plan will be, but I could definitely see
it kind of seems like NBA coaching contracts at this point are just kind of like they make no sense because nobody coaches don't honor them, teams don't honor them.
Who's the Pistons coach? Monty Williams.
Yeah,
he's getting paid a ton right now for doing nothing.
Absolutely.
The Lakers, Darvin Ham's probably getting paid right now too.
Yeah, Quinn Snyder just up and he still had like 3 years left on his deal. Really? I think when he.
But he left, so I don't know if we had to pay him.
But I mean, he had a contract and just was like, all right, I'm done. Like, okay. Cool.
He's got his money.
Yeah.
Okay, that is some pretty hot takes. Yeah. We'll love to see that. Have some fun banter into the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing, ESPN Top 100 list came out.
Yeah, no surprise here. Only one Jazz player on the ESPN Top 100.
I'm surprised. I think Colin Sexton should be on there.
I do too, yes. I just haven't seen any other top 100 lists with any other Jazz players, so it didn't surprise me that ESPN didn't either. But
not surprised that they're sleeping on us, I guess.
Lauri Markkanen, only player on the list. He's ranked 33.
Okay.
That's down a little bit from the last year. He was ranked 28th. Dropped 5 spots. Some notable names ahead of him. Chet Holmgren is kind of interesting.
He's kind of young.
He's probably getting there, but
I think he's less proven.
Other interesting, Zion Williamson, I guess.
Maybe
that's a hard one because
they're pretty
injured.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it seems like a pretty good spot for him. We had kind of talked about when we made our top 20. We do top 20 or top 25? How he wasn't quite in that next tier, but he was like pretty close. So 33 seems pretty reasonable.
It's kind of pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah.
You could say all the guys next to him are in the same spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, Rudy Gobert moved from 64 to 34 this last year.
Okay.
Which makes sense because his first year in Minnesota was pretty bad. Last year was...
So they put him one spot below Lauri.
Yep, he's right below Lauri. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of interesting.
From what I saw, Mike Conley's on this list, right?
Yes, he's number 98.
That's
above
pretty
Chris
solid.
Paul.
That's
kind of
interesting.
Yeah.
He's getting up there in age, still making the list.
Yeah, interesting. Derek White's number 39. I thought that was kind of interesting. Not sure I agree with that one. James Harden at 41 feels kind of weird.
I think it's probably true.
It makes sense. It just feels weird because he's just been so good for so long.
It's like he's not even the same player, but he's getting kind of old.
Yeah. So kind of crazy. Hopefully this next year we'll get a couple of Jazz guys in the top 25.
Is there any guys on this list that you think really got slept on?
It's kind of interesting. LaMelo Ball's at 50.
Yeah.
I was thinking about LaMelo Ball the other day, just how much hype he had. And it was kind of rightful. He was an all-star. He was killing it his first couple of years. I just don't know what happened. It still seems like he's pretty good, but 50 seems kind of low to me. I don't know.
I think some people want Herb Jones higher. He was at 97.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's some interesting. There's at the end of this list, especially. There's some interesting like Brick Lopez and Jonas Valanciunas. I'm not sure that I agree that either of them belongs on the list.
Dude, Zach LaVine at 74 is kind of crazy to me. Austin Reeves and Klay Thompson are above Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
I'm not really too thrilled about that. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Zach LaVine.
I totally agree.
And Cade Cunningham at 67. Draymond Green and Malik Monk are above him. Like, what is going on?
Brandon Pajemski is at 78, which
it's pretty high for 1 year, yeah.
Very high, yeah.
Josh Hart's at 61.
Yeah.
I guess he's on top of the world after last season.
Yeah. Oh, Dante DiVincenzo at 75. Did you see his trash talk the other day when he played the Knicks?
No.
Oh, apparently he is not very happy about being traded from the Knicks.
Oh, shoot.
The Villanova boys.
They broke up the brotherhood.
Yeah, he was like yelling at. He was like taking a free throw and he was like yelling at Tibbs. He's like, "This is what happens when they let you take over." Like, oh shoot,
no.
Bro. All right, chill.
I don't know. That's kind of, you don't love to see that.
No, yeah. I could understand you. He probably loved his team, so it's probably just a high emotion. Yeah. Probably shouldn't have been yelling, but I could understand. So yeah, next year's list will be much better. That's my fourth hot take.
Oh yeah, Keontae might sneak in there.
I think so.
If Pajimski's on there this year, I feel like
100%.
Next year he could sneak on.
100%. Okay, so Andrew and I have both joined a fantasy basketball league. So that'd be pretty fun. I got lucky. I got the first pick.
I don't know how you got the first pick. It's just all luck, either. Yeah.
I might have Venmo'd somebody, but whatever.
Oh, shoot.
That's
You're going to take Jimmer?
Under the table. I think so, yeah. I think so. Or maybe Taco Fall. I don't know.
He's a good player,
it's a little murky. You have the fifth pick, though. That's still not bad.
Yeah, I think I could still get somebody solid.
Who are you feeling first round pick? You know, who are
I don't know. I pretty much see five worthy picks, and whoever's left on the board out of those five is who I'm going to take.
Yeah,
so
fair.
It's pretty much between like all the MVP candidates and Wembanyama.
That's fair.
So could be like Shea, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, Wemby.
Yeah, that'd be good. I really think I'm probably going to take Shea. I think he could win a scoring title.
I don't know. If you take Jokic, he's going to get rebounds and assists.
That's true.
He's just not going to get the points as much.
He's the new Mr. Triple-Double.
Or even Luka. He could get a lot of points, rebounds, and assists.
That's so true. Although, I mean, let's be honest. If Jokic is passing to Westbrook this year, I think his assist numbers are going to diminish just a little bit.
They doesn't have KCP anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, between Michael Porter Jr. and Westbrook, Jokic is going to take a hit with assists, I think. So, I'm just kidding.
I'll let you make him fall to me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You can have him.
The MVP of the league here.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. We'll report back next week.
See who we got.
Yeah.
Also, the WNBA Finals is tied 2-2.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you saw Game 3. Sabrina hit a logo 3
at the huge shot
with 1 second left.
Yeah.
Reminded me a lot of Damian Lillard's 3 against the Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
That 1 year where he waved him off.
Uh-huh.
I kind of felt like that, although that shot was better because it was in Game 7, I think.
Right.
This was just to take the 2-1 lead, but
yeah,
the Lynx won Game 4, so they're tied 2-2, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if... I still don't know much about WNBA. it a 5-game series
I'm
or
pretty
7?
sure, yeah. I was noticing that the other day because they're like forcing a game 5, and I was like, wait, what?
Okay, so it all
How do you
comes down
force a game
to
5? Yeah.
this will be all the marbles in this
Yeah,
last
so,
game. It's kind of nice. They'll finish their season right before NBA starts, so maybe they'll get some more viewership.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think hitting shots like that, big highlights like that, are good for women's basketball. Kind of.
Yeah.
We all see the clips of the missed layups, and that is, I don't know. That is kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But seeing clips where it's like Caitlin Clark or Sabrina like hitting a tough shot is like, that makes you want to watch it.
They shoot a lot of threes because it's not as physical, and so there's a lot of threes going up, a lot of big shots.
Yeah.
So definitely excitement.
Absolutely. Talk about excitement though. Holy crap. BYU football.
Oh my goodness.
7-0.
I'm surprised both of our voices are working
correctly
this morning after the game last night.
Yeah, unreal. I will say BYU, that intro that they did last night when BYU came out they had like a little drone show, if you didn't see clips of it, and then they were like displaying the LED lights. Like, it felt electric in there. And
and more than it normally does.
Oh yeah, it's already hype at night in LES, but
added to it. Yeah, unfortunately the team didn't get the memo because it was a tough game to start. But first half was rough.
But it ended just like it started. It was so hype. Jake Retzlaff just absolutely carving up the field with a minute
I want
left.
you to be completely honest in this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think they were gonna win? Especially like in the fourth quarter, did you think they were going to win?
No. I was really, I didn't believe in our offense. I'll be honest, I doubted that our offense could do what they did in that last drive.
I'll be honest, me too.
I was like, these guys they make so many mistakes. The thing is, we went for it on 4th down on that last drive.
I know.
So we almost did what 6. I thought we were going to do. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Retzlaff was throwing interceptions as much as he was throwing completions in the second quarter.
It was so bad. We could not stop the run at all on defense.
Ollie Gordon had that big hurdle.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
He's so good.
He's insane.
He's like an elusive truck. Like, he's a big man, but he can also be like really shifty.
It was like a kind of a sigh of, I shouldn't say this, but a sigh of relief when he got injured. I'm like, oh my gosh, finally we can get a defensive stop. Of course, I was praying for him. He came back, so it was fine. But
yeah, it means no excuse, right?
Yes.
They can't say we won because he was injured.
That's right. He came back.
No excuse.
Yeah.
Darius Laster had an awesome game too. He had the game-winning touchdown. 120 yards.
Yeah. LJ Martin had a great game too.
Yeah.
He had 128 yards or something.
Yeah, he had a lot of yards.
Yeah, he was unfortunately the second best running back in the game, but the best BYU running back today.
O-line did well as well.
Really well.
I feel like you can credit a lot of his success to the O-line.
Yeah, and honestly, I think great teams need games like this, games where you get a little bit of adversity, late in games, like. BYU, you don't get that type of experience to win a late game like that very often. So if you're a good team,
I'd say normally as a spectator, I like nail biters. Yeah, and I like chaos at the end of the game.
Yeah.
When it comes to BYU, I like blowouts.
So we usually don't win them.
This was a little bit more stressful for me. So I kind of wish we did better in the first half. But when you win a nail biter, it's great. Yeah, it's just a little stressful before the win.
It's getting kind of crazy because I don't want, it's hard not to get ahead of yourself looking at the rest of the schedule where you're like, we got Houston and Kansas who are both like 1-win teams. And
we could go undefeated just because our schedule is not that hard.
Utah's got a true freshman quarterback who, that'll be a tough game because it always is, but it's kind of like, oh my gosh,
you never know.
This is getting kind of crazy. But we'll see what happens. Good win for the Cougs.
Oh, yeah. And then our weekly hockey update, because we're hockey fans now.
Yes, sir.
Totally hockey fans. We lost our last 2 games after winning our first 3. But our last game to the Ducks actually went into overtime. So I don't know if you knew, but if the game goes into overtime, you still get a point.
I saw that our record showed 3-1-1, and I was like super confused about it. But
so that's an overtime loss.
Okay.
So pretty solid. I love how exciting most of out of the 5 games we've played, 3 of them have gone to overtime.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Because like in overtime, it's a sudden death game. Whoever scores wins the game.
Yeah.
There's no like time, right? So
yeah,
that makes hockey really exciting, at least to me. So the fact that half of our games are going to overtime makes me like a lot more interested in watching. And our team actually looks really good too.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's fun to watch a nail biter, especially hockey. Hockey's just like, because
there's a lot more nail biters in hockey than
it could
any
just
other
turn
sport.
on a dime too. Like it's like you don't. Yeah, it's so fast paced and kind of hard to keep track sometimes. But
yeah,
it's so
I realized. I think we had a different goalie than we talked about last time too.
Oh yeah,
Ingram.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He was looking pretty good though.
Yeah, I almost have been kind of, we're still trying to learn hockey here, but it kind of seems like it's almost like baseball where they like rotate pitchers, every night. Our goalies kind of seem to rotate similarly, even though there's not
really
as many of them. At least it seems like that. It's hard to tell, but
yeah, I mean our best goal scorer right now is Dylan Gunther. He's scored so many goals.
He's been playing really well.
Try and find where it is.
He won that first overtime game for us.
Yeah, he's scored 5 goals in 5 games.
Wow.
So
good for
Clayton
him.
Keller, our all-star guy, he scored 4 goals too. So
let's go.
Lots of good players.
That's so fun. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. So we'll keep. I think they play tonight. They play the Bruins, if I remember right. Yes, the Boston Bruins, who are 3-2 as well.
Back at the crib.
Mm-hmm. Back home in SLC. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're again so grateful that you spend your time listening to our hot takes. I feel like we do it every week. But we appreciate your support. Don't forget to check out our past episodes, especially our past couple of episodes. We've made some predictions about the upcoming season in both the NBA and for the Jazz, so you'll want to hear those to hold us accountable later. And you can check those all out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find them there. And hope that you have a great weekend. Take care.
Peace.